up, everybody? It's your boy the Kryptonian saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 662. 662, chapter 662, and holy shit! I asked in the last video, right? I said, who would win in a battle pre-time skip between Smoker and Law? Hands down, it's got to be Law because of what happened in this chapter. Because Smoker had intel, and Law put that work in on him and actually takes his heart out and has it in some type of cube. That is some badass stuff. And oh my god, man, like Oda, when it came to drawing this fight, he's got some really beautiful scenes, man. Some really beautiful scenes. Like, it's pretty cool to see Smoker kind of dispersing into the smoke because he's got the devil fruit and everything. But what's interesting is you get this one shot, and I'm going to put this one up. You get this one shot where you see Smoker breaking up into the smoke after he's asked what's going on the island, if there's somebody pulling the strings behind Law. Law's got his sword. Smoker's foot comes out of nowhere, and Law blocks him. He's got that staff that's got the sea prism stone in it. And right after Law blocks it, that's when Smoker is on the blind side of him. Law turns around, ends up blocking him again, and then they get into the exchange, and you're thinking, oh shit, Smoker's got him on the edge. He's got him, and all of a sudden, that's when Law says, don't get too cocky. He raises those fingers up, ends up raising the ground and everything up, and it puts Smoker in a position where Law actually takes his heart. But this is the panel I'm talking about right here. This is the panel I'm talking about. This is some beautiful artwork, man. This is so great, man. This is so great. So much attention to detail here. The way that the motion is captured, and you see how like Oda's got like little lines and everything to show how fast the movement's going. This is good. I like this, but the direction and the way everything's being drawn, you actually see the direction the smoke is going, and then you see how it loops around in the previous panel and it comes around to Law, and then at the same breath you actually see Smoker looping around on the other direction. This is good. This is good. Like this is why, like, little scenes like this, I can tell just where Oda, like when they say Oda really like the Dragon Ball stuff, that's why I can see it. That's why I can see it, because one thing Toriyama really did in the manga is he captured motion really effectively. And that's why a lot of people say Toriyama's like a gag writer, but he draws really cool fights. And it's because of the way that no action motion is wasted during the battle sequences of his manga. He makes sure that everything kind of flows in and the panels kind of capture that little detail. And that's what you get here. You get the same thing. You get the same thing there. That is so beautiful. But in this case, I like what Oda did a little better than what I've seen Toriyama do. And Toriyama's work on one end, Toriyama, when it comes to battle sequences, there's a little more focus put on after the motion is put on the expressions of the characters. But in this case, Oda, just the level of detail that goes into the small things during the fight, even the positioning of the sword when Law has to flip his wrist around in order to block Smoker, beautiful. Beautiful. That's some shit that I would have seen in Rurouni Kenshin's manga, just like the sword positions and stuff. And I like how one of the things that we get is Tashigi has that swordsman spirit in her. And she says, oh fuck, speaking of Tashigi, I didn't touch on this in the last chapter, so I'm going to get this right after this. I'm going to get that right after this. But when it comes to Tashigi, she says, like, hey, don't you talk to me like this. Kill me. You've already dishonored me. And that's when Law, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, but Law says, having spirit doesn't make you a swordsman. Understand that, Navy lady. And that was some real shit. That was some real shit right there. I like what Law did there, but what kind of irked me a little bit with Tashigi in the last chapter is it's just like Smoker tells her. Smoker says, hey, your hockey's not enough. Stay out of this. And he didn't go the route that Kishimoto would have went. Kishimoto did some blatantly sexist stuff in the Naruto manga. The reason I said this is kind of sexist is this is kind of like basically saying, hey, I know better. you didn't listen, woman ignores, and all of a sudden she ends up in a bad situation. It's very small, subtle things. I mean, I know somebody's gonna say, "Oh, you're reading too much into that," but this is the thing with literature and with reading graphic novels, different things, even if the author doesn't mean for them to do, there are different things that it comes across. Like for me, if I read or if I see on TV, we'll use something that's a visual medium. I was just recently going back and looking at some old WWF stuff back during the Attitude Era, and you had Undertaker. Undertaker always says "boy," right? And when he called The Rock "boy" for a second, I was like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Because that's something that usually when you got like an older white dude and he says that to a black guy, usually at that moment there's a little bit of undertone there. There's a little bit of racist undertone. But in this case, I was like, "Oh shit, that's just how the Undertaker was always talking." And so I give Oda the pass on that, saying, "Oh, well, he wasn't trying to put out a sexist message because he hasn't really done that in the series before. Saying if the woman doesn't listen, then bad things happen to her." He hasn't really gone that route. And I would actually argue that Oda has actually built up the female characters in a way that's very respectable. So this might be just me saying, "Oh shit, now I was just reading too much in that." And it probably is. Because again, I don't think that's him. If this had been Oda, if this would have been Hiro Mashima, I would have said that. So just food for thought on that one. But I like how with that battle with Smoker and Law, there's two levels to it. The first level of this fight was you had Smoker at first trying to buy time to first get Tashigi out the way, but then he buys more time for his crew to escape. And in the last chapter, he called them dead weight. That's exactly the case because while they were there, he couldn't really cut it loose. And then once they get free, after the spear gets sliced in and the ship, the stuff that's holding the ship together ends up breaking apart, that's when Smoker really cuts loose. And Tashigi gets this flashback. And she says, in the flashback, she's picturing Smoker, and Smoker saying, "Once a pirate, always a pirate." And for some reason, what kind of hit me was she's seeing it, and I'm thinking, how's that going to play when she meets Zoro again? Because I feel like Oda purposely had them kind of meet together, probably to throw like the red herring, because part of me still says like I think that's Kuina in some type of way, because again, like in the manga, like we see her body, but I mean like there's been like her face wasn't covered up. It just implied that like she fell down some stairs or something. Like so I look at that and I'm like, it might be her. She's a swordsman as well, but the glasses and little small things like that. I mean, maybe. But getting back to it though, when Oda had them meet, and then she felt so betrayed when she found out that Zoro was Pirate Hunter Zoro and that he was part of the Straw Hat Pirates. And I'm wondering if Oda is building up a redemption part where Zoro and Tashigi end up meeting together, and for some whatever reason, Zoro breaks her whole thinking of how pirates are supposed to be. I feel like that's being set up at some point. Something's being set up with these two. And usually when I say I don't know where this is going, usually Oda's building that up. And for some reason, I'm thinking back to Zoro on that. But the other thing is it shows that being around Smoker, he's molding her like a good leader should. But on the flip side of that, I feel like whatever was inside of her that was still naive, that just died. That just died. I think that she realizes she's got to get her shit in gear. Now, with that being said, like I said, after they get free, that's when you find out. Like, Smoker was really holding back. And like in the panels I was showing you guys, Smoker is just going all out for it. But after Law defeats him, that's when Luffy shows up. He's like, "Hey, you're that guy." And the chapter ends that way. And it's just like, oh shit. So we're going to get Law versus Smoker, and then turn around and get Law versus Luffy. And with that being said, I do have to backtrack a little bit. So apparently the person that is working behind Law is some creepy thing, demented piece of wood shit. I don't know what that thing is. But whatever that is, whatever that is, it's saying Law was just supposed to draw them away, right? It was supposed to draw them away. And what I found interesting about that is, I think I'm saying her name right. I think it's Monet. And that bird chick, you know, she's looking, she says, I knew something wasn't right about them. These are the Straw Hat Pirates. We need to be careful. No wonder this is what's going on. That's them. And the headline says the Straw Hat Pirates are back in business. So this is special. This is leading to something special. What is Law planning on this island? Why did he take that particular interest in that samurai that's from Wano? And why is Smoker and Law, they're having their back and forth? On one hand, Smoker doesn't trust 7 warlords. He knows it, but what's going on with the warlords in the world government? Why is there more tension building? What is going on with Akainu? This is Oda setting something up. Oda's setting something up. He's setting something up with the samurai. He's setting something up with in the immediate future with Law and whoever he's working with. I mean, this is getting good. So my question, my question to you guys is, if, and this is another versus battle, but if we were going to see something pre-time skip between Law and all of the Straw Hat Pirates, all of them fighting at once, could they, and you can pick the Straw Hat Pirates that were on Sayabodi, okay? If they were fighting together, would they be able to beat Law? Because I'm trying to get a gauge for how powerful this guy is. Because on one hand, Smoker basically dragged his dick across Luffy's face. And Law takes this guy out fighting in a cerebral fashion. So, and it makes sense. He's a surgeon, so the guy's smart. So I'm just trying to get an idea for how powerful and how skilled of a fighter is. I get the idea just based on what we saw in this chapter. I want some confirmation. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Have an awesome day.